Greetings and welcome to Module 1 Unit 6 related to program outcomes. Here in the last unit, that is U5, we understood the role of accreditation, which is becoming increasingly important, and also understood the criteria of NAAC accreditation. For all general programs, the accreditation agency is National Assessment and Accreditation Council, and also understood the centrality of closing so called quality loop at the level of what we called it as course outcomes, program outcomes and program specific outcomes. So, we understood the role and features of NAAC accreditation. Now, in this unit, we will try to identify program outcomes of general higher education programs, and in particular we will also try to understand the nature of PO1, PO2 and PO3 of the selected POs. That is what we will be looking at in this current unit. Now, we have already mentioned, we will once again mention that there are three levels of outcomes. One is at the program level, not just one program, all the undergraduate programs offered in an academic institute. The institute could be an autonomous institute or a university. For an affiliated college, the university identifies the program outcomes and the affiliated college will have to operate under the program outcomes identified by the university bodies. So, program outcomes are statements that describe what the student should be able to do at the time of graduation from a general higher education program, and they need to be identified by the university, or as I said also by any autonomous institution. And these program outcomes are non-specific to a program. That means a BA program in economics or a BSc program in biology or something like BA in literature or BCom, they all will have the same program outcomes. That means they represent the desirable characteristics of any graduate. And then comes the next level, program specific outcomes. They are statements that describe what the graduates of specific general program should be able to do. A department, this is where once again we are not trying to make it different for different institutes, or let us put it this way, still a university will identify the program specific outcomes through to the board of studies for that particular program, but the same program may be offered by all the affiliated colleges. So, to that extent all the affiliated colleges will have to use the same set of program specific outcomes, but one university can differ with the other universities in terms of PSOs that are associated with a particular program. And this is how let us say a BA in economics in one autonomous institution A can differ with another autonomous institution offering same BA program. So, an institute can differentiate its program from a similar program through its PSOs. Then the third level is the course outcomes. COs are statements that describe what students should be able to do at the end of a course. These are either identified by the instructor in an autonomous institution or by the board of studies of the program in a university. So, either way there is considerable amount of freedom at the level of a course. So, the course outcomes represent what the student should be able to do at the end of a course. Now, if you look at this, is broadly this diagram represents the relationships between POs and PSOs and the curriculum. Ideally speaking, the curriculum design should happen in a top down manner. That is, you identify POs and PSOs first, and to attain these outcomes you design the curriculum. Though in practice right now it does not happen that way, but as far as possible you should start with POs and PSOs and then make adjustments to the curriculum in such a way that the desired POs and PSOs are attainable and are actually attained. Now, what is the process of creating these POs and PSOs? Here the program outcomes, as we said, are decided by the university or an institute committee with representation from all stakeholders. Stakeholders will include employers, alumni, parents, faculty, graduating students. So, you create a committee and you create a committee here and interact with a large number of the stakeholders. But the committee itself will have formal representation of all stakeholders. And through iterative process here, a process that is defined and well documented as required by a NAAC accreditation process, and these decide what the program outcomes are. Similarly, a departmental committee or a board of studies, they will again interact with the stakeholders and decides and periodically reviews the program specific outcomes. So, whenever you want to review or redesign your curricula, first thing you will have to do is you will have to look at whether you want to change your PSOs or not. And program outcomes are something, as we already stated, they are common across all programs. So, to that extent, this committee which talks about writing program outcomes is very different from the committee that decides the PSOs. Okay. So, once these two are written down, they are at the same level and together should lead to the design of curriculum. That is broadly the relationship between POs and PSOs. Of course, in practice it may happen in somewhat slightly different way or in an iterative manner, or you already have a curriculum and then you write back, but still if the college or the university has a choice, they should start with the top down approach of writing POs and then PSOs of each program and then designing the curriculum. Now, why program outcomes? Majority of the graduates from a general program seek employment immediately after graduation. This number can be as much as 80%. People stop their formal education after the first degree, and a small percentage of the students proceed to postgraduate programs or specialist training programs or prepare for competitive examination. And if you look at quite a significant percentage of the graduates also consider it is equivalent to getting a degree is equivalent to getting an acceptable level of education per se. So, one is not very keen what kind of program they are coming out, what kind of program they have done, and also they may, after graduation, they may pick up a job that may not have much to do with the particular discipline in which they have graduated. That is the kind of thing that we need to understand with regard to general programs. Whereas, in case of engineering or medicine, professional degrees, a much bigger percentage of graduates will seek jobs that are related to the discipline in which they have graduated. Now, irrespective of the path chosen, that means whatever job, whatever thing that you get into, every graduate must attain knowledge and skills and attitudes that enable him to be an effective and responsible citizen of India and world at large. Here effective citizen would also mean whatever job that you are doing it effectively. I may become a simple office administrator or a receptionist in an office, whatever that you do, it may or may not have anything to do with your discipline in which you are working, but still every graduate must have certain knowledge, skills and attitudes that enable them to be an effective and responsible citizen of India, and these days you have to add world at large. And these are by many people are also called graduate attributes. If you want to search the internet for program outcomes, you may not be able to get too much. You should search for graduate attributes, but for our operational reasons they are presently referred to as program outcomes in India, both by NAAC as well as the National Board of Accreditation. The word graduate attribute is not used as of now in India, and NAAC requires that universities and autonomous institutions identify their own program outcomes. They are not specifying. Mind you, the program outcomes are not specified anywhere in the world by any agency, though many agencies talk about it and suggest the skills and knowledge that is required, but nobody legislates that these are the program outcomes that you need to follow. Now, before we write POs, after all we offer a program in a particular context. The kind of programs that we offered, let us say 20-30 years ago, are not the same right now, and neither the situation in the country is the same as earlier. So, what is the context now that we need to keep in mind when we write POs? ICT, that information and communication technologies, are completely redefining how professional business and office work is carried. We do not have to overemphasize this. Everybody uses a cell phone, and most of the activities in the offices are also getting done through using computers, and communication has become very widely available. People now have 4G, now we will be soon moving into 5G. The rate at which the information is transferred in all forms, text form, picture form, or in video form, is becoming almost instantaneous. So, ICTs are going to continuously redefine how professional and business and office work is going to be carried. However, you have trained yourself, the moment you complete your program and get into any kind of job, you are interacting with ICT. That should be remembered. To that extent, the ICT plays a very dominant role in your professional life immediately after graduation. But as you can see, the last item, the use of ICT in teaching and learning is very limited at present in India. So, it is only fair to require or demand that all graduate students during their 3 years of activity at an institute should also get a decent exposure to the use of ICT in their own activities. Okay. Another feature that characterizes in today's world, demographic changes are continuously taking place in every country. People are moving back and forth from villages to cities, from one state to the other. So, constantly if you take the demographic picture of any region, it continuously changes. And on top of that, you have a continuously changing global economic and political scenarios. Just one look at the newspaper will tell you that what kind of changes are taking place all the time in today's world. And more importantly, changing social and environmental scenarios where hunger, poverty, public health, sustainability, climate change, water resources and security constitute the great problems that face the humanity in general and particularly in India at present. Just 1 week newspapers if you look at, you will find major articles or news items on all the issues that we have now listed. That means all these features from hunger, poverty, public health, sustainability, climate change, all of them are going to be a continuous thing, and then today's graduate will have to work in that environment. You cannot mentally dissociate the discipline you are involved with and the general scenario, you cannot decouple them. You have to operate within that. So one has to not only learn to live with that, and one should even redesign your curriculum, whatever be your discipline, in the context of these scenarios. You cannot say I couldn't care less about, I am a pure physics person, I am only interested in physics or mathematics. It is not so. You have to have an exposure or a sensitivity at least to these issues and be prepared for that. And on top of that, we have a peculiar region. India is particularly characterized by large religious, linguistic and cultural diversity. So this is the context in which our programs have to operate, and this context will have to in various measure should get reflected in the curriculum that you design. That is what it is. Now as we said, POs need not be, POs for general programs need not be written by are not written by the accrediting agency. So you will have many versions of them. In fact, if you go to any university, either in some of the eastern countries and in all western countries, if you go to any university and look for, they would have defined the they may call them graduate attributes or equivalent program outcomes. So there is no dearth of getting different versions of these POs for general programs. We consulted some of these, for example some resources indicative of desirable POs. They include core values of NAAC accreditation framework, though they do not call them POs, but more or less they are indicative of the POs. The core values of NAAC and institutes, it is a very strange organization, but they have conducted, they identified as in a major work on what are the 21st century skills anyone should have. Institute of Museums and Services, Future Work Skills 2020 Phoenix Research Institute has put up, and Trends in Global Higher Education, Tracking an Academic Revolution. This is a UNESCO report of 2009, and Graduate Attributes of American Association of Higher Education, AAHE. This is one of the representative bodies of United States of America, and the essential learning outcomes. They will call them learning outcomes as a generic word for graduate attributes or for program outcomes, American Association of Colleges and Universities. And I am particularly mentioning, it is a small college called Alverno College, and they have written an excellent set of graduate attributes through what they call core abilities of today and tomorrow as an indicative one. All these samples are made available through a resource document which will be accessible to you when the course is on. Now we have identified about 12 POs for consideration. Okay, we are not saying that you have to exactly follow, but as a kind of starting point, after surveying all these documents that I mentioned, we identified 12 of them, and these are, let me quickly run through that and then we will come back through some in detail with regard to some specific program outcomes. Critical thinking, that means you add an adjective to thinking, that means you are talking about some desirable features of thinking. Now what does it mean? Here critical thinking, take informed actions after identifying the assumptions that frame our thinking and actions, checking out the degree to which these assumptions are accurate and valid, and looking at our ideas and decisions, both intellectual, organizational and personal, from different perspectives. We will come back and elaborate that a little more. And PO2, problem solving. Everybody will have to solve some problems. Solve problems from the disciplines of concern using the knowledge, skills and attitudes acquired from humanities or social sciences or mathematics or sciences. Okay. So, you solve problems from any of these disciplines. That is what a general program is all about. And then everybody will have to communicate effectively with everyone. So, effective communication, speak, read, write and listen clearly in person and through electronic media in English and in one Indian language, and make meaning of the world by connecting people, ideas, books, media and technology. This is effective communication. PO4, individual and teamwork. Everyone will have to function both effectively as an individual, and all activities, whichever profession you are in, you are always working in a group organized in some manner. So, the PO4 is related to function effectively as an individual and as a member or a leader in diverse teams and in a wide variety of settings. So, one should be able to work, and this particular skill is extremely important irrespective of the type of job that you are working. PO5, ethics, understand multiple value systems including your own, the moral dimensions of your decisions and accept responsibility for them. PO6, environment and sustainability, understand the impact of technology and business practices in societal and environmental contexts and sustainable development. PO7, self-directed and lifelong learning. This is becoming increasingly important because of limited shelf life of any knowledge that you have, and also technology is changing very fast, our practices change very fast. So, to that extent every graduating student should demonstrate the ability to engage in independent and lifelong learning in the broadest context of socio-technological changes. This is considered extremely important for every graduate. PO8 is what we call design mindset. Represent and develop tasks and work processes for desired outcomes. That means you have to work towards achieving a desired outcome. To that extent, I must be able to represent the task and also develop those tasks and work processes to move towards the desired outcome. PO9 is computational thinking, and today's world is data based in every facet, whatever type of activity you are doing. So, a graduate should be able to understand data based reasoning through translation of data into abstract concepts using computing technology based tools. And then PO10 is effective citizenship. Demonstrate empathetic social concern and equity centered national development and the ability to act with an informed awareness of issues and participate in civic life through volunteering. Okay. That means you should be able to train yourself to become an effective citizen. PO 11 is global perspective, understand the economic, social and ecological connections that link world's nations and people. This is a sensitivity everyone should have. And then PO 12, aesthetic engagement, demonstrate and master the ability to engage with the arts and draw meaning and value from artistic expression that integrates the intuitive dimensions of participation in the arts with broader social, cultural and theoretical frameworks. So, these statements, again the way they are stated are not unique, one can reword them, but by and large it should be only one sentence should be written for each graduate attribute or each program outcome. Now, what we need to do is as you look at it, all the 12 are important. You cannot say one is not that important. Everything is important. Possibly we can write a few more that can be considered equally important also. Now, what is the current scenario? Designing curricula or conducting general programs to meet a set of program outcomes is very new, not relatively, very new to all higher education institutions of India. Whenever you talk to faculty through any of the seminars or meetings, the moment you utter a word like graduate attribute or program outcome, they say, what is it? Why should we be even concerned with it? Now, obviously that will take considerable time for these ideas to kind of percolate all the way to all faculty. So, while all the 12 program outcomes are important, the number of POs to be addressed should be kept a little smaller to ensure their attainment to an acceptable level. There is no point in writing all the 12 and just forget about them and continue to do what you are doing. To actually conduct your activities to attain these outcomes is not a simple task. It is going to take considerable amount of effort. So, if you do not make any effort to ensure their attainment, there is no point in listing them. So, that is why my suggestion is that first 7 POs be given for consideration, or whatever POs that are suggested, you take the first 7 POs for as the program outcomes of higher education general programs. That is, restrict yourself to the first 7. But if some university wants to take more or want to replace instead of first 7, they want to take another set, they are welcome. Their committees specifically constituted for that should make those decisions. But for this course is concerned, we will consider these 7 POs for all the following exercises that we do. But the exercise that we do, the nature of exercises will be the same irrespective of the POs that finally the university selects. The institute may consider, one thing is like this, there are several levels. You, out of the 12, you may delete some from the 7 or add some, that is one level. And having selected that 7, you may want to reword some POs. A rewording PO you think may represent what you have in mind better. You are most welcome to do that. So, the final set of POs to be used by the university or institution should be selected, written by the academic council or a committee specially created for that purpose. So, these suggested POs can be considered as the starting point for writing one's POs. Now, let us look at the 7 POs. The first one is related to critical thinking. One should spend understanding the statement first. It will take several readings for it and to relate to one's own way of thinking. Okay. Now, I am presenting the considered view of, there is one group called criticalthinking.org. A group of professors across various universities in USA formed a group, and they keep looking at critical thinking and keep on producing tools and methods to train people in critical thinking. So, the statements that I am presenting are from them. Critical thinking is the art of analyzing and evaluating thinking with a view to improve it. All of us think, but can we improve the quality of our thinking? And that can only be improved if you are able to learn how to analyze and evaluate your own thinking. For example, this you will all agree, much of our thinking left to itself, that is, if you do not train yourself, is biased, distorted, partial, uninformed, or downright prejudiced. This we all know. That is because the kind of sequence of experiences that we have gone through from childhood. But generally everyone's thinking to some extent or the other is distorted, biased, partial, and so on. So, the quality of our life and what we produce, make or build, or what we do depends precisely on the quality of our thought. Excellence in thought, however, must be systematically cultivated. It does not come to anybody just automatically or naturally. You have to cultivate, that go through series of experiences, and somebody should comment on what you are thinking, and you should go through the process of improving your thinking. Now, how do we ensure that this can be done? For example, now if you look at a higher education general program, what do? You may be asked to write a paper, or you may ask to perform an activity, or you may be given a reading assignment. Okay. In any of these, the one way of assisting critical thinking, you must state the purpose of that activity, the question, what questions are being raised, the information being used, the process, how the conclusions are being reached, what is the main idea or concept of this, and most importantly, what are the implicit assumptions made. Sometimes the assumptions are stated, sometimes they are not, especially in social sciences or subjects related to that. The assumptions are made, but they are never stated. Can we identify the assumptions involved in that, and implications of the position taken? If I take a position, what are its implications? And then you have points of view. Some are points of view. Okay. So, if a student is asked to do this kind of thing repeatedly over 3 years in different subjects, hopefully the quality of his thinking will improve. That is where the critical thinking is attained. Now, come to PO2, which is related to problem solving. In any subject you have to solve some problems, and you require some knowledge, skills and attitudes for solving these problems. Generally these are acquired from this particular subject that you are specializing in. So, this is a fairly simple one. What happens, majority of the courses mainly address this outcome, because all courses will certainly address this outcome. However, but when it comes to assessment, that is your internal continuous internal evaluation or even final exams, many questions may not ask you to solve problems in the examination. They may ask you to simply remember something, remember and reproduce, or merely to say write short note on and so on, and the percentage of questions that would ask you to solve problems will be much smaller. At least end of the chapter problems will at least moderately address this PO. This is readily achievable in case of science subjects, but in case of other subjects you will have to consciously design some problems that need to be solved. Now, what are the activities? Solve end of the chapter problems, understand the context in which a given problem was formulated, give examples of complex problems in your discipline, noting that complexity is different from difficulty. A difficult problem is not necessarily complex, okay, and a complex problem is not necessarily difficult. And train students to give multiple solutions to given complex problems. These are some of the activities that will enhance or that will facilitate attainment of this particular program outcome. And then coming to effective communication, speak, read, write and listen clearly in person and through electronic media in English and in one Indian language, and make meaning of the world by connecting people, ideas, books, media and technology. Because we never work alone by ourselves, we live in a group at the level of profession, at family, in society. So, one needs to require to communicate very effectively with all the people. So, a graduate employee of any organization has to communicate effectively with his own community. Let us say you are a bank clerk. So, you are communicating with people who are trained similarly. So, one can communicate very effectively using the acronyms that you develop to use, but of course, if you communicate the way you communicate with your peers, outside world does not understand. So, you have to change your communication if you are trying to communicate with persons not belonging to your community. Graduate employees also required to communicate with lay educated persons, including customers of one's own organization, society at large, especially for government employees where they interact with the public, and public means people with all kinds of educational backgrounds will come. So, one needs to learn to communicate effectively with customers. All organizational work is done in groups. When you work as a group, it requires all members to document and communicate their day-to-day work in a commonly agreed formats. So, some activities that could be incorporated into your classroom: write reports that get evaluated as per declared rubrics. When you write a report, it should be evaluated and they should carry marks that count. Make short presentations to peers and lay persons that get evaluated as per declared rubrics. Give feedback on a presented activity. One should learn to give feedback, and also not only that, document the feedback given on a presented activity. So, these are some possible activities. There can be many more than this for attaining a particular program outcome. What we request you to do is identify a PO in your view that should replace one of the suggested 7 POs of the program of concern. Give reasons for this proposed replacement of one of the suggested POs. Okay. So, we have given you 12. you think that a particular PO does not represent what you have in mind, you identify that, reword it and then write your reasons for this proposed replacement, and write sample activities from the course that you taught that can lead to the attainment of PO1, PO2 and PO3. We will look at the other POs in the next unit, understand the nature and importance of PO4, PO5, PO6 and PO7, and not only that, we will try to write PSOs of the program of concern. And thank you. We will meet you again in the unit 7. Thank you very much.